All right. I need you guys to go to the software folder and go under Power BI. I dropped 2 folders there, Visual Studio Enterprise and Visual Studio Professional. I wanted you guys to download those 2 software. If you have slow internet, download just one. I don't know which one to go with. Download just the Visual Studio Professional if you're using if your internet is slow.
Where did you say you downloaded? You sent it again?
It's on the. I put it on the under the software
drive?
folder.
Okay.
Let me share the link. And I guess every one of you in this class should have access to that if you've been. You should have it. If you've ever taken my class, you should have access to this folder. But that's the only way you got the material. Except you've forgotten the email you provided. Can you guys see that? Click on the link that I placed on the chat. Let me put it also on the WhatsApp chat. For those that might not be in class, they want to watch this video. I'm assuming that all of you are up for my later class, so I'm just going to put it there. All right. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So Microsoft. So today we're going to be doing 2 things. We're going to be installing SSIS, configuring SSIS, and hopefully be able to build a simple package, what a package is, and deploy that package and use that package to schedule jobs with the package, right? And then probably troubleshoot some of the problems that you'll be having in SSIS. Now, when we talk about Microsoft SSIS, you're going to hear most of the things that we'll talk about are Microsoft. It's part of the business intelligence model, and Microsoft uses that really for data flows. Let me share my screen. Okay, so now this is actually used for especially SSIS part of it, or we use it for data integration and manipulation, right? In SSIS, the concept is that how do we integrate data that are coming from different sources, right? If you have data is coming from maybe a CSV file, a data coming from an Excel table, data coming from SQL Server, from Oracle, from other kinds of data sources, right? How do we make this data, make use of this data? Now, what we could do with SSIS is that we can import this data, right? So you're going to hear a lot about ETL processes, right? So what we're doing is that we're going to import this data into a system, maybe do some data manipulation onto that and load this data somewhere. Right, so you have this data that comes from different sources that are imported into a system, and this information, this data then is used for do data information, do some kind of information about it. And here you see here, for example, we bring this data from different sources, different data types into a data warehouse, and from that we do some analysis. That's where the SSIS comes into play, right? Because you are doing analysis on data, and then you use that information to make decisions about the business. Now, you on SSIS, you're going to hear a lot about ETL, right? ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading, right? What does this mean? Then I'm bringing data that is on different sources. So I'm extracting that data from different sources. Once I have it, I can then transform that data the way I want it. Maybe I take Excel data and I transform it in a different way into a SQL Server. Once the data has been transformed, I then load the data, right? extraction, transformation, and loading. Now, when you are loading it, you can load it into either a data warehouse, right? You can load it into a SQL server. You can load it into just any other relational database. And once it's loaded there, we can do some analysis on that data that has been loaded. When we're dealing with analysis, you start here on things like cubes, doing analysis. And once you have analyzed data, what do you do with it? You report on the data that has been analyzed. That comes the SSIS part of it, which is ending at the level of extracting, transformation, and loading the data. Now, I analyze the data, the SSAS part of it. Once the data has been analyzed, I then report on the data, the SSRS part of it, right? So that's where all these terminologies come from. IS, AS, and RS, right? So this is really what we do with it. Now, for today's class, we're going to do a very simple a demo, and which is just understanding the very basic concept of overflow, how an SSIS platform look like, what we talk about data flows, parameters, how to do connections into an SSIS, and how you can load the data once all this has been done. This is basically what we're planning to do today. Now, when we are talking about all this, now you're going to hear a lot of terminologies like parameters, event handler, packet explorer, connection manager. What are all these things, right? The parameters are used to create variable to store value when you are trying to import data into SSIS, right? Now, event handler, you will use that to execute package, right? And also to troubleshoot when a problem, when the package has an issue. And in the packet explorer, display all the elements of the package, such as the connection managers that you have, the logs that you have, and even whatever problems that might show up on that. Now, the connection managers are really the connection that connects to the different data sources. If I'm connecting to an Excel data source, if I'm connecting to a flat file, if I'm connecting to an Excel, a SQL Server data source, right? And you guys have actually done SSIS in this class, even without knowing. We did a topic here, import and export, right? When you import the data, what SQL Server is actually doing at the background was creating an SSIS package, right? Because when you are importing, you are connecting from a different SQL Server, pulling data from a different SQL Server, and inserting that data into a different SQL Server. That's just SSIS there like that, you know? So we're going to look at all those basic terminology. Now, when it comes to SSIS, we have what is called a precedence. Precedent just shows you how data flow from one source to another, right? So you will see that we will deal with this. You see a lot of these data flow tasks. I'm moving data from this, it goes to this task, and from this task, it goes to this one, and so on. So all the different stages, right? From stage 1 to stage 2 is called a precedent. And most of these precedents, you can set barriers here to make sure that before the data leads from this to this, it must pass these conditions, for example, and so on, right? So all these stages are called precedents, and it's really used to control the way data flows in an SSIS scenario. All right. So when we come to this is really more advanced kind of precedence when you start talking about loop containers. For each loop, a sequence container, it just tells you how the data flows through the different stages as we are picking the data. All right, so I'm not going to go so deep into this. I'm just going to go straight into the installation part of it. Once we install and we start building these packages, I will explain more on how this really works out. But in general, this is what SSIS is really used for, to extract data from different data sources and load it. And it's a really big course. If you want to look at it together, SSIS, for those that have taken Power BI classes, this is almost a 6-month course. So there's just no way you will get all the knowledge that is required for this in a 3-hour session, right? But at least It helps you to at least have the foundation. And if you see it interesting and you want to move forward in this, feel free to look up for different schools that are doing training on this, doing intensive training and take more classes. But for your jobs, this is not something that you have to know everything before you get it. Get out there with what you know already now, get your job, and then develop your training strategy, how you want to develop your career. Okay, with that said, I've asked you guys to download. How is the download process going? Should be done for most of you right now, right?
Yes. But
is there anyone that's still downloading it? Or is there anyone that did not have access to that folder? If you use your email that you provided, you should, all of you should all have access to that folder. I see the questions here. Which order do we download it? Download both if your internet is not slow. If you have slow internet, download the professional edition for now.
I downloaded, but I'm confused about the download. I downloaded the enterprise and installed. Then
don't install it.
Oh.
You know what? Instead of environment and virtualization side,
right? You're not installing. I asked you guys just to download. Right. All right. Anyone still downloading? Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install that SSIS Visual Studio. So Visual Studio just like you have SQL Server Management Studio to manage SSIS. We also have Visual Studio. Now, Visual Studio, in order for us to do that, I will need us to first do an installation of SQL Server on our machine. And the SSIS feature needs to be added. Now, if you already have SQL Server installed, all you need to do right now will be to install another feature of SQL Server. All right? They're just adding a feature. Do you guys still have a SQL Server on your local machine, not the VX, please, local machine?
Yeah.
All right. For those who don't have it, like me, you're going to follow this installation process with me, and let's go ahead and do the installation. I guess that all of you have access to our software. All of you that have taken this program, you should still have access to the software. So let's go ahead, pick up the software, and let's start the installation process. I'm going to wait for you guys to follow me through, but especially for those that are doing it for the first time. So in an interview, definitely you're going to talk about what are some of the basic things, the things that you've done with SSIS and RS, because you're definitely going to have it on your resume. You can talk about the first project installation of SSIS, building simple packages, deploying these packages in production, troubleshooting these packages when they fail, because your job as a DBA, most of the time, you're going to deploy this package. And if something happens, most of the time, if you did not build the package, you are going to see that an SSIS package is failing. You're going to work hand in hand with the SSIS developer to really troubleshoot that, and then it will be redeployed for you. So at least having a notion or understanding of how this works is very important. All right, here, so where I'm doing SQL Server installation, I don't need to teach you guys how to install SQL Server. You guys know how to do this already. One thing I want you guys to know is that, anyway, I will share the key anyway, because for the Visual Studio installation, we need the key. So if you are doing, if you already have SQL Server installed, and you are not doing a brand new installation, you're adding just a feature, you're going to select this one. All right. If you are doing a brand install, we go with new install. So selecting this one, you have to select which instance you want to add that feature on. Right now, I only have one install on my computer. So I'm going to go with a brand new installation. And I'll do another one and add the features for those who are lost. All right, next. This is the key that I'm talking about. If you can just copy this key and put it somewhere, you will need this key soon. Next, I'm installing Enterprise Edition. Okay, so here, database engine, I need replication. So this feature here we never used to check. You see, analysis services. But we're not going to do anything on analysis services for this class, right? But for those who want to take intense classes that will one day look for that, you need to install this. But the only thing I need here for us will be this integration service. You see, mine is already checked because I did the first installation. And the integration services is already checked. So client to connectivity, integration services, backward compatibility is what we need. All right, let me expand this for everybody to see, for those who are doing it with me. So guys, this is a practical class. I don't need anybody to come and watch this. If you watching this class and not doing it, it's better to just put on your movie and watch and enjoy your life rather than better. You spend the time will be well spent. Okay, so we have those features checked. So make sure you check this integration services, right? Now, one of the features that has changed from SQL Server 2017 and above was SSRS, right? It used to be a feature. Right now, it's no longer a feature. It's a whole installation on its own. That's why you no longer see it here. But in the old configuration, SSRS used to be a feature in here, right? An interview question. What are some of the changes that you've noticed working with different versions of SQL Server? The installation of SSRS feature is no longer a feature installation. It's a whole installation on its own, right? That's one thing that you can also say. So at this particular moment, guys, as we are going through this interview, everything, just like when we come to virtualization class, the first thing you do is you open your OneNote, right? Sorry, you open your VMs. In the interview class, when you come, the first thing you do is your OneNote to be on board. Don't just say the OneNote already look nice. Yes, but it was built by somebody else. You don't understand it. So you need to customize that OneNote to a point where you understand where the questions are, how to answer them, and so on. So as you're coming in an interview class, just have the OneNote. As we ask those questions, you can write down the questions also, and then try to see how the person answered them. And pick the question, answer, and figure out, if I was the one in an interview and I get this question, can I answer it? If the answer is no, you have to make sure you know the answer before the end of the day. That's the only way you're going to make use of those 30 days and then just get out there and get your job. All right, so make sure that, like what I've just told you right now, would have already been on your OneNote under there. What are some of the key questions? What are some of the features, or what are some of the differences that you've noticed working with different versions of SQL Server? That's the whole question. And then you can start typing down the answers, right? That's it. Okay, next. All right, so I'm creating a name instance for myself. So I'm just going to call this one here a VR. I'll just call this a VR instance. See, I don't have a default. For those of you who ask the question, do you need to have a default? The first installation must not be a default. There's some companies that do not even accept default installation. So you see here, I have database engine, replication, database engine, and SQL Server agent. I need to provide a password. You can see how to remember this now. Dennis. Okay, and I know the password. Copy this and put it here. Put the password. Okay, next. In your case, if you are doing it, if you just added the SSIS feature, you will see it here. You also need to provide a service account and the password for that.
Okay.
All right, okay, guys, is that point clear? All right. Next, mix feature and password one. At the current user. If this is at work, what am I adding again here? Basiro, what am I adding again here? If I'm doing it at work.
The group.
Sorry?
Your SA account.
The SA account.
The group account.
Yeah.
The group, yes. Basiro already having a problem. Compressed set. SQL Server has an unsupported attribute. Basiro, why are you putting everything on the C drive? It's because it's not going to, it's not like the C drive. You don't have any other drive?
Yeah, I have, can I change it to another drive?
Yes, change it. Just in that case here, just change that C and put a different drive data in there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. And ask, right? You should, if I wasn't looking at my WhatsApp, I would not know that you said the question. All right. Okay. All right. So you add a group here, the SQL Server group, right? Most of the time, the DBA group has to be added in here for the deployment, for the installation. All right. Data directories. I really don't care so much here because this is just practical work. So I'm just going to dump all this on one single location. I call it, let's call it STG, and I'll go back and change the name to STG. I'll change the name here to STG. I'm just putting all that on one drive, so I really don't respect best practices. It's just for practice. All right, so I'm leaving all that on here, and I'm also going to go here and you know how when we when we say here, click here and say create new folder, right? Create new folder. Because this is a brand new installation, even if the folder does not exist, you type anything here, it will create the folder. Did you guys know? Did you guys know that? Any
Yes,
path that you put here, that folder will be created for you. Okay, just make sure that you guys know. And then tempdb, I'll just leave tempdb in this place, and I will not configure anything here next. And install. That's it. All right. See, question: are we gonna have access to this class video? Who's this asking this question? Sure. What version of SQL Server? You can do any version, Chuck, either 2019. I'm working with 2019. Prefer you do 2019 if you have. You should have it actually. Who asked that question? Who's Law? Law does not talk. All right. So while this is running, guys, I'll go back to initial installation. Can I kick another installation while this is going on? Looks like I can. Okay. Now, this is what I was telling you about SSRS being a separate installation of, right? You see, it's no longer inside its feature installation. It has its installation here. So tomorrow, this is what we're going to install. We're going to install this, play with this, migrate SSIS from one server to another, show you how to grant permissions, how you grant access, users access permissions into that, and play a little bit with it. Okay. Let me pause the video here. Here we have our SSIS. We have SSIS already installed. My installation is done now. So let's proceed. All right. So successfully install a feature with SSIS. And so the next thing that we need to do right now is we have just downloaded that Visual Studio. It's a Visual Studio that we're going to use to run all our packages, to deploy our packages using the Visual Studio. So to do that, let's go to the download folder, pick up the Visual Studio that we downloaded, and I have it here.
Hey, Doc, I think I'm missing something.
What are you missing?
When you selecting the features.
Share your screen. I thought we were all done on that.
I went back to try to do with the bash and I missed a step or two.
All right, share your screen, please. Yeah, that feature, but this looks like it's all grayed out. Are you just adding a feature installation?
Yeah, I was trying to add the ones you selected.
No, you've added you've said on select everything. Please. Do on select. All right. Now, what you're doing here, you are adding a feature, right? Because database engine is already installed on that instance that you're trying to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go
all
one
these
step
are
backward?
grayed out.
Yeah, can you go one step backward, please? You see, you're adding a feature to an existing installation. That's why that database engine is grayed out. So that, which is fine. You already have enough instances. You don't need to go ahead installing more instances. All right. So go to next. The only thing that I want you to add will be in this installation will only be SQL Server Integration Services. Are we installing default or name instances? Name instance, call it prod. You can do it on default, it doesn't matter. Integration services. If it's already checked, no, it's not checked. That's the only thing you're adding. Check integration services. Yes. Next.
No, let me see.
Then now put just the username and password. So this is how you do that work, right? Probably you during the first installation, you were not SSIS was never needed, and then they've asked you to add another feature. You're going to select which instance needs the feature, and then you add the feature installation.
So here I'm adding
The username for that computer.
what is his name?
Type student and check.
So what?
Type student and check.
Okay, there you go.
How do you know his username was student? If you guys have been working enough together, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And put the password.
And then password.
Hold on. It's still loading.
It's still loading, okay.
All right. I'm wondering if we should go with the enterprise. Yeah, we'll just go with the enterprise.
Click install.
All right, install. Should go very fast.
Thank you.
Okay, so for those of you that have already finished, so get that installation, the Visual Studio that we downloaded, and let's launch it. Batch, it came back? Is it still the same problem?
Yes, sir, the same problem.
What's going on with that your computer? Do you have VMs in that?
Yes, sir. The VMs are working, but I was trying to install SQL Server on my host is refusing.
Oh, yeah. Can you do this in the VM? Just put one VM on. You don't need to have all the VM. You need just the DC and one extra VM and do that on the extra VM.
Yeah.
We don't have time to start troubleshooting while you are disks are refusing to install right now. All right.
So do we all have to turn our VMs on?
No. It's because
Okay.
it's having problem. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do now, but Bashiro, you already have a SQL installation, right?
Yeah, on my VMs.
But on your local machine, you don't have any SQL installation?
No, that's what I was trying to do a few days so I can connect when we were doing the Azure class. So it was refusing having the same engine.
Okay. All right. So, but even for Azure class, you don't need the entire VM. You need just SSMS.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay. So what you should do is just go on the VM and install just a feature. Don't install a full instance. Add just the SSIS feature.
Okay.
And copy this installation, this Visual Studio that we're about to install right now into the VM. Launch it inside the VM. Okay. All right. All right, guys, let's move on. So now we're going to go to our installation media that we downloaded. I'm running the Enterprise Visual Studio Enterprise Edition. And we launched it. We accept. Before you get started, we need to set up a few things. Non-privacy, continue. Are you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right. You guys on this other screen. Okay, where's the installation going? Where is it?
Oh,
Here. All right. Visual Studio is as we get deeper into this IT field, we'll be introducing you into so many terminologies that you're going to get used to. One of it is Visual Studio. And for those that will learn later on how to code, most coding takes place with Visual Studio. For example, you have Azure development here, you have Python development, ASP.NET, Universal Windows Platform, .NET development, mobile development, all these different Linux, Visual Studio. These are all the things that you need to learn as you get closer, deeper into this field. All right. So right now you've just launched it. This is where this will be installed. The Visual Studio will be installed on your machine. The download cache, the share component will be installed on your machine in here. On this other side here, there's an option that says install while downloading. And
how did you get here?
I just launched Visual Studio. Just click on it. Okay. Are you guys here or not?
No,
Yeah.
No, sir.
It's telling us to sign in, create an account.
Create an account.
It's saying sign in or something. That's what it's saying.
Yes, cool. Let me see what it's showing. How come I was never asked to sign in?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's saying here. Sign in.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Not now, maybe later.
Do not now, maybe later.
Later.
At Visual Studio. Well, it looks like you already had it installed, right?
Yes.
You're already
downloads and check it there.
Sorry?
Here.
You should go to his downloads. It's probably there.
Yeah, it's already installed. This is where it is right now. It's already at the point of creating a project. This is way above all of us. So you have to hold on. I think when you download it, you actually installed it. We are still at the point of installing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and download all and then install it. Let's go with install while downloading. It doesn't install. Do you want to continue without a workbook? Visual Studio Editor can open folder, edit file, manage work item. Visual Studio needs to install additional component to create open. I can just say add a workbook here and then install. It's going to take some time, looks like. Are we all here? Is it going the right way for
No,
everybody?
sir. Doc, I'm a bit lost.
All right, share your screen. I'll pause the recording here. All right, so we're about to connect to SSMS. You connect to the integration services using SSMS. And the only way you can connect to that is by using launching SSMS as administrator. So to do so, we click on our start menu. We're going to scroll down here to where we have SQL Server Data Tools. We have our SSMS. We right click on that and we select more and go to run as administrator. Right, accept. How did I do that again? Scroll down here where you have SQL Server Data Tools, expand this, look for your SSMS, right click on it.
Concerning the
select,
application access to
mute yourself,
like
say
what the other
more run as
I did not receive
run as administrator. Okay, that's the way you should do that. We got that right?
We'll do that again.
No, Doc, I can't see it on mine.
All right, let's do it one more time. You're going to look for SQL Server Tools, where you look for your SSMS. That's a simple truth. Right, you can also go down here and just type SSMS. When it pops up, right click on it, or even here it says already run as administrator. Just run it.
Okay.
Okay. So when it pops up to connect, you have here the server type, database engine. We're not connecting to database engine. We're connecting to integration services. So we drop down menu will tell you analysis services, reporting, or integration services. We also have Azure SSIS integration runtime. Now we select integration services and we browse. Go down here where you have integration services, look for it. You're going to see the instance. Click on it and connect.
Okay, mine is giving me something different.
What is it giving you?
I have the, okay, I think I'm good now. I have the database engine.
Doc, do you say we should pick as run as an administrator?
Yes, you have to run SSMS as administrator. They will not connect if you don't run it as administrator.
Yes.
Is connected database engine?
Yes, please.
Server type?
Not the database engine, integration services.
Integration.
Then also,
services. Okay. The server name.
And then you have to browse, go down and browse, look for integration services.
Okay.
Roger. And connect. Maybe.
How many people here are from B3 class? Hands up, please. Put your hand up. I just want to see sample. How many people? No one? One. No, B3, B10 3. Timothy, you're not a B10 3 class.
Doc?
There's only 2 people in this class from B10 3.
Doc, can I please share my screen for 1 second like this?
Yes, please share your screen. Are you guys trying to tell me Jack is the only one here in B10 class?
Okay.
Monica, I said on the server time. What are we selecting?
Integration services.
Integration services.
Oh, okay.
Server type, not server name.
First
Oh.
one.
And then browse.
No.
Browse down.
Click there.
Monica, browse under server name. Look for integration services. Integration services. Expand integration services. All right.
Okay.
Correct.
Next.
Have you guys realized that when we added the integration services, but on the name instance, right? But why is there is the default that shows up? You cannot have two integration services in the machine. If you try to go another installation, it's only going to show you one. It can only be one on the machine, and it always be on the default instance. It always takes the machine name.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Even though we added it to a name instance, but when you are connected to it, it doesn't show you the name instance name. It shows you the machine name, which means it goes by default. All right. So at this point, let's move on. Anyone else? Question? All right, let's move on because we have another installation, a download that's going to take a long time. Okay, so at this point, you can see you have connected to your integration services, SSIS. You can see any package that you deploy. We're going to see it here. Right now, we have running package. There's no package, right? Everything integration services is all about packages, right? We are deploying packages. You create a package and you deploy it, and the package will be here. Stored packages, these are system packages that have system file. Whenever you install SSIS, you have this MSDB that pops up here that has data collector and maintenance plan. You have any maintenance plan, it will show up here. So your job as a DBA is actually to deploy these packages and maintain those packages. Okay. I created this here. Let me just delete this folder so we can all do it together. Now we're going to go here and create a new folder. So under this, you can import a package. Remember when you were doing import and export, towards the end of it, it gives you the option to save it as an SSIS package. You could save it and then later on import it here. You can upgrade the package. Let's say you're upgrading an SSIS from 2016 to 2019. You can upgrade the package. You can also delete the package here, right? So, and there are reports that you can run on that. Right now, I have no packages, so I'm just leaving it here like that.
Excuse me, sir. I don't have the same like you.
I'm not sharing my screen.
I don't have the same like you. Yours is different.
No, you just have to expand it.
I don't have the option to expand, sir.
Is that the case for everybody? You guys cannot expand?
I have but a question, Doc.
Hold on with your question. Marcel, share screen. Okay. It doesn't give you.
I have the same like him.
The same with mine too.
Which okay. I mean, it runs as an administrator. Okay. Sign out and sign back in. Let's see. Sign in. Connect. Expand. Expand. Yeah. Just sign out and sign back in. It just needed some time.
I did that the first time. It gave me. I came to this. It gave me some. It didn't work.
Error.
And an error message.
Me too.
It's trying to, why expand it gives an error message?
There goes the error
Yes,
message
sir.
again.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the same error message I got too.
Oh, you don't have a default. It says it happens when there's no default install of SQL Server install. You don't have any default install of SQL Server on that machine?
No, sir.
No.
All right, that's why the problem is. All right, so please go ahead. Just go ahead and while we're doing the next installation, install a default install of SQL Server on that machine.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Expand the SSIS now, then connect.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry.
What we're doing right now is really just to, but I actually don't have a default instance. Why is it giving you guys issues? But just go ahead and install a default instance. But what I want you guys to do, maybe hold on with the installation because it might take a lot of time. I say, hold on, let's do the next thing. Let's go back to our Visual Studio.
Your screen, Doc.
You can see your screen.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so we had Visual Studio. Where's my Visual Studio? It's here, right? Normally, when you launched it, you should have the screen that most of you have this screen, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me delete this. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do right now, we're going to create a project, right? And for you to create a project, if you click on this, say create a project. Next, and let's call that project here batch 10. Since I have batch 10, I'm just going to just add it to SQL batch 10. Batch 10. All right. Now, when you create a project, it creates what they call a solution. And this is the location. This is where the solution is located on your computer. Now, this solution here, this is where we're going to troubleshoot. If there's any problem with that SSIS package, it saves all the directories in there. Okay, so you can also change this. If you don't want to save it there, you can change it. So I'm leaving it on this default location. Then you go and say create. So we're creating an SSIS project. You can see we are already in here. We have what is called Solution Explorer, Git changes, and so on. But right now there is really nothing, right? We first have to start by adding an extension, the Integration Services extension on this our Visual Studio, so that we can deploy things from Visual Studio back into SQL Server. So on this extension, go on Manage Extensions. And here you will need to download a couple of things. What we're downloading is, if I scroll down here, is SQL Server Integration Services Project. It will take some time to download. That's why I wanted you guys to do this. So, so click on it and then just click download. It actually takes you out of the whole thing, but it might also download directly. So let's see how long. It says 6 minutes for me. I don't know how long it's going to take for other people. Probably a longer time. All right. Let's resume recording. Okay. So we went here. We installed we downloaded the SSIS Integration Service Project. It should be somewhere now on our downloads. So let's go look for it. I hope that you guys did not run it. I wanted you just to download, not to run it. Download. This is it here. SQL Server Data Tools Integration Services. You could also do this by. Sorry?
I'm not at that level though.
Why are you not at this level? You didn't
Because I was
download it?
installing the default instance. I don't know when it got here.
Well, I asked everybody to download before you went to do the default install. I asked everybody to download this Microsoft Integration Services tool. Can you check on your download to see if you have this?
Yes, sir. Download.
All right.
No, sir, I have the professional.
This is going to take time. Let me go through it. People that are ready, I'll come back to you soon. All right. So when you click on this Microsoft Data Tools, you ask you to install in which language. If you like any other language, you can select the language, but we're doing it in English. So we click OK. And next, Visual Studio 2, this is already installed.
Error message.
Message too.
Visual Studio. Stop with Office. Why is it failing? Please close the following processes before continuing. All right. We want us to close the following processes. If you have this running, let's make sure we close it. If we have SSMS running, let's make sure we close it. This guy running, let's make sure we close it. Let's try one more time. All right. Should run now. Some of these messages that we see in these SQL Server classes, they are easily, you can easily troubleshoot them. Just pay attention to what it's really telling you. All right. Okay. Monica, please share your screen. All of you guys, we're installing that. Let it install. It will take a couple of time to install. Can you close this, please? You're done with the default installation? Monica, you done with the default installation?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, close all these many windows that you have open. Jesus, how many of them did you open?
I don't know.
Did you even get to this point? Start Visual Studio? Hold on, don't close it. Hold on. Cancel it. You don't want to close it. No. Start Visual Studio. Monica, pay attention. It looks like you are completely backward in terms of the progress. You didn't get to the point where you created a project? All right, create a new project. Click on create new project. Next. Batch 10. Name it batch 10. Batch 10. 10. Great. All right, so it opens an empty project, but we need to add extension. Go on extension on the toolbar. Go to the toolbar, you see extension. Which one is your toolbar? That's the taskbar. You're going down to the taskbar. The toolbar is the one up. This is where your tools are. Go to extension. Extension, please, not tools. Tool is just a feature.
Extension.
That whole place up there is called the toolbar. So go to extension. All right. Manage extension. And let's scroll down, look for SQL Server Integration Services. Other one. Click on that. And download it. What is downloading right now? All right. It takes about 4 minutes for your own to finish downloading. Stop sharing.
Thank you.
Felix, why I keep hearing thing from your. Okay, so close it. Oh, you started twice or what? Close it.
Cancel this.
Cancel that, yes. Okay. All right, let's go back and launch Visual Studio. So you have Visual Studio already installed now. If you go down on your start menu, you should be able to launch Visual Studio. Go down, let's look for Visual Studio. Where is it? There you go. Let's launch it. Yeah, we got starting as administrator, please. Let's just start as administrator. The computer requires a restart. Okay, try to restart your computer. So everybody, if you're done installing, restart your computer.
I've restarted already.
All right, if you're watching this video, there will be two videos for this class because I have to restart my computer. So I'll restart it and I'll come back.
Doesn't feel that good.
All right.
Why?
Lucien, your line is not muted, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.